It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're wrapping up 2001 by taking a look at the weekend of December 28th, 2001. Of course, the week between Christmas and New Year's. This should also be considered the Academy Award episode of Time About the Movies, not because the fact that this is coming out the week before the upcoming Oscars on Sunday the 10th, but all 7 movies on this show, almost all of them, have an Academy Award kind of feel to it, like the announcer has to say, nominated for numerous Academy Awards, Golden Globes, critics love it. Like, you're going to hear a lot of that throughout the course of this episode. I was really surprised when I got all the clips together, how many of them there were in this compilation that I have here. But let's go ahead and start off with the biggest one of the weekend, the biggest new release of the week, and that is Will Smith as Muhammad Ali in Michael Mann's Ali. So this is, of course, the film that focuses on 10 years in the life of boxer Muhammad Ali, played by Will Smith. It takes place between 1964 and 1974, featuring his capture of the heavyweight title from Sonny Liston, his conversion to Islam, criticisms of the Vietnam War, and banishment from boxing, his return to fight Joe Frazier in 71, him reclaiming the title from George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle from 74, also touching on the great social and political upheaval in the United States following the assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr. as well as Malcolm X. And it's a Michael Mann movie. It's a long movie, but this was the first movie from Will Smith to basically show that, it's basically an Oscar bait film, but I take that back, because kind of Legend of Bagger Vance, I think, was kind of that first movie that was trying for Will Smith, for him to win an Oscar on that one. But unlike Legend of Bagger Vance, which was not a great movie, this one actually is. I thought this movie was really damn good. Will Smith does a really good job of playing Muhammad Ali. He shows why he should have been nominated for Best Actor, which he was, along with Jon Voight, who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, playing Howard Cosell. The visual look of the film is really impressive. You really do buy into Will Smith's performance in this, and it's Michael Mann. Michael Mann does not usually make very bad movies. And, there are definitely a lot of Oscar-baitish moments in here, moments where you could tell they're just trying to pump up the emotions so you can believe that this guy should be worthy of an Academy Award, which Will Smith would eventually win an Academy Award about 20 years later. But the movie works. The movie works well enough. I think it does more than enough of its job to say, hey, we can make a movie here without feeling like we're being manipulative to you. At times it can, but never to the point where the movie loses you completely. And I think it works because Michael Mann knows what he's doing. He makes it work. He's got a great script to work with here, and a great actor to show that, hey, he's got the acting chops to do a movie like this and really make it pay off with him in this leading role. And, yeah, not much more to say about this one. It's a really damn good movie. I really like this one a lot. Shouldn't have won Best Picture that year? Probably not. It's not. I don't think it's as good as something like A Beautiful Mind, but it's definitely one I think deserves a lot more praise than it actually gets. I thought it was a very good film. I thought it was a very well done film. It shows what Will Smith can do as an actor, and it was a very engaging story about 10 years in this life of Muhammad Ali that he had, and he had a great life overall. A very interesting life that could have been made for numerous movies if they really wanted to go that route, but focusing on that 10 years actually kind of works in the film's favor big time. And like I said, really damn good movie. I can't recommend this one enough. If you haven't seen Ali, definitely check it out. It really shows you what Will Smith's capabilities are as an actor, why he deserved to be nominated for an Oscar for this. Not quite with stuff like Pursuit of Happiness, or even something like 7 Pounds, or Concussion, or Collateral Beauty, those movies he was trying to do but to get an Oscar, and it just didn't work out. But this one did. Ali is really good. So with that said, moving on to the next film, Meg Ryan and Hugh Jackman starring in Kate and Leopold. This is a really weird movie, man. It's a romantic comedy fantasy film telling the story of a physicist played by Liev Schreiber who accidentally pulls his great-great-grandfather, Leopold, played by Hugh Jackman, through a time portal to the 19th century, New York to the present, where he and Stewart's ex-girlfriend, Kate, played by Meg Ryan, fall in love with each other. And you wouldn't think that would make it be as crazy as the movie ends up becoming, but No joke. There was references suggesting that Kate is Stewart's great-great-grandmother that was censored from the film mere days before it was released. James Mangold basically said, the director of this said that due to two critics who were horrified by Liev Schreiber's distant relationship to Leo, the previous four-long relationship of Stewart and Kate is classified as illegally incestuous in many jurisdictions because she is his literal ancestor. So they basically got rid of scenes where Kate has a generic relationship to Stewart, a scene where Ryan appears to be in the background of a 19th century party, and a cameo by the director, who basically made the changes to demanding at the demands of a test screening. Even with that, though, the plot is all over the place, and there is a good idea for a premise here. I mean, taking a guy from another time and making him fall in love with this woman in modern day, there's potential there, and I think with a better script overall, maybe this could have worked. But I don't think it's James Mangold's fault, even though he is one of the writers on this. It's still very early on in his career, and actually, no, when you think about it, he made Copland and Goal Interrupted, which were two great films. I think by this point he probably should have known better what this movie should have been like. So yeah, I'm gonna put the blame on James Mangold because his name was all over this puppy, and it did not work out in the end. I mean, you can't really buy into the chemistry between Meg Ryan and Hugh Jackman. I think the only person that really comes out of this unscathed is Hugh Jackman. I mean, he's the one that's really carrying the load of the film, and it shows the charm that he has as an actor. Like, he is a very charismatic actor. He's not just Wolverine. He actually has a lot of charisma and charm, and we would see that later on down the road with many of the films that he would be involved in. And he would work well with James Mangold down the road as well, working on the Wolverine as well as Logan. But, yeah, the more I think about it, I was going to give this movie more praise than most people probably did, but the more I think about it and the more I see the behind-the-scenes trouble that this movie had, and the fact that this is a great director that really should know better by this point after making two great films in Copland and Girl Interrupted. Yeah, this really is probably James Mangold's worst film overall. The one that's just like, I can't really think of anything I really liked about this movie. It's not that good of a film the more I think about it. Much as I tried to give it some praise, I can't do it, man. It's not worth it when it's all said and done. So, yeah. Hard skip on Kate and Leopold. So, anyway, let's get back to some Oscar bait. How about that? Here's Julianne Moore and Kevin Spacey in the shipping news. We get it. You want Oscars. Like, stop pouring it down our throats. I mean, good Lord. Two-time Academy Award winner Kevin Spacey. Two-time Academy Award winner nominee Julianne Moore. Academy Award winner Judi Dench. Academy Award nominee Cate Blanchett. Did we also forget to mention this is produced by Academy Award winning producer Irwin Winkler and directed by Academy Award nominee Lassie Hallstrom? I mean, if you took a drink for how many times they mentioned Academy Awards in that, you'd be drunk. You'd be lying dead dead on the floor if you were playing a game with that. It's just like, my God, man. And it'd be fine if the movie was good, but no, it's an Oscar-bait film. It follows an emotionally beaten man who moves with his daughter from upstate to New York to his ancestral home in a small Newfoundland fishing village, and blah 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 blah. You've seen this done over and over again, and there's nothing new in this movie whatsoever. Lassie Hallstrom can make good movies, but this is one of those ones where everything about this movie is just... This is the definition of Oscar bait at its worst. I mean, from that trailer alone, it's disgusting the way this movie just has no remorse for its audience or has any idea how to entertain its audience. It's just like, no, we've got all these Oscar caliber actors in here, so that's more than enough for you to see this movie and really like it. And no, it didn't. It was a huge bomb when it came out. It wasn't even a big hit at the box, big hit critically, and did not get any Oscar nominations either. And what more can I say, man? It's just a boring movie. It's not an engaging film whatsoever. You can throw as many Oscar people in here as you want to, but in the end, it's not going to make it good if the movie isn't good. And this one definitely is not good. So yeah, that is the shipping news. But let's go ahead and get to some good Oscar movies, because we've got a couple here. We'll start off with this one here, Robert Altman's Gosford Park. Directed by Robert Altman and written by the guy who would later create Downton Abbey, which, fun fact, Downton Abbey was actually supposed to be a spin-off of this movie, but instead it was developed as its own standalone property. And, would have been very different. I mean, this is like a mix between Downton Abbey and, of all things, Knives Out, because it's a satirical black comedy mystery where you have this really big cast of actors. They have a party of these wealthy Britons plus an American producer and their servants who gather for a shooting weekend at Gosford Park, an English country house, and a murder occurs at a dinner party, and the film goes on to present the subsequent investigations from the servants' and guests' perspective. And the cast that includes Bob Balaban, Charles Dance, Stephen Fry, Michael Gambon, Richard E. Grant, Derek Jacobi, Kelly MacDonald, Helen Mirren, Jeremy Northern, Clive Owen, Ryan Felipe, Kristen Scott Thomas, Maggie Smith, Emily Watson, all throughout this movie. And it's a pretty good movie. It doesn't go quite dark black comedy like Knives Out did, even though this has an R rating, and that was PG-13. Knives Out was. But it's an engaging movie, and you do get invested in all the characters, and you do get invested in the mystery, too. And that's what a good mystery needs to do. Like, you need to get invested in what's going on in terms of the mystery aspect of the film. I mean, and most mysteries nowadays don't really have engaging mysteries because you can pretty much figure out what's going to be the result when it's all said and done. This one does keep you on the edge of your seat at times, and it really does work very well. It's a very solid film. It's one of Robert Altman's best films overall. I really like it, man. I think it's a really solid film. Definitely one you should check out if you haven't seen it. Gosford Park. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get to probably the best movie that came out overall this weekend, and that's Ridley Scott's Black Hawk Down. Easily the better war movie that Josh Hartnett was in 2001. But it's based off the book of the same name by journalist Mark Bowden about the crew of a Black Hawk helicopter that was shot down during the Battle of Mogadishu. And of course, this takes place during the Gulf War of the 1990s and in Somalia. And actually, this doesn't take place in the Gulf War of the 90s because that ended in 91. This is in 92 in Somalia, and you got a great cast that includes Hartnett, Ewan McGregor, Eric Bana, Tom Sizemore, Bill Fichtner, Jason Isaacs, Sam Shepard, Jeremy Piven, Ewan Grufford, Ewan Bremer, Hugh Dancy, Tom Hardy in one of his early film roles, Orlando Bloom's in here, Ty Burrell, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, and it's Ridley Scott, man. And you can criticize it for the inaccuracies. There are a lot of inaccuracies here, but then again, there were a lot of inaccuracies in a lot of great historical films. But this is what I miss about Ridley Scott. When he makes a movie like this, and you see the effort going into it with the visual style, the way he shoots the film, I miss this Ridley Scott a lot. It's why I can't get excited for Ridley Scott movies anymore, because they're just not as exciting or as engaging as a movie like this is. This is probably one of the best war movies ever made. It's a very engaging film. You get so invested in the action sequences. They're top-notch. The way the film is shot is well done. The music by Hans Zimmer is great. The writing is very good. The acting is very good. Everything about this movie just works so well. The trailers, I thought, did a pretty good job of getting me invested in checking this movie out. I think it delivers everything that it promises and then some. Like I said, it's got inaccuracies to it, but you know what? A lot of the great historical films have a lot of inaccuracies, but we love them anyway. I mean, Titanic's probably the biggest one of all, and that's one of the biggest movies of all time. But if you make a good movie like this that is an entertaining film, you can let that go. And like I said, this is what I miss from Ridley Scott. I want to see more movies like this. I don't want him going back to the well with something like Gladiator. I don't want him doing the same movie over and over again with the Alien Covenant and Prometheus. I want to see him do something that is showing his true talent. Like, more movies like this in The Martian, please, from Ridley Scott. No more movies like Napoleon, please. Please, I'm begging you. But, Black Hawk Down, what more can I say? Classic film. So let's get to some more Oscar material with the movie that had Halle Berry win her first Oscar, and that is Monsters Ball. So in the movie, Billy Bob Thornton plays a corrections officer who begins a relationship with a woman played by Halle Berry, unaware that she is the widow of a man who is assisted in executing, who's played by P. Diddy, of all people. Directed by Mark Forster and produced by Lee Daniels, who would later go on to direct his own movie with Precious, and also Lee Daniels, the butler. Again, kind of a movie that has a lot of an Oscar baitish type of thing, but the stuff that makes it work, the performances by Billy Bob Thornton, especially Halle Berry, are really, really good. Heath Ledger has a really good role in this as well. So does Peter Boyle. It's interesting seeing Sean Combs and Mos Def in a role that doesn't usually seem like a role that they should be in. But it works to their favor. I mean, playing against character, I should say, but it works very well here. I think the movie does a very good job of handling that. Not one of the better films of the year, but it works it works because mostly of the highlight of Halle Berry's performance and Billy Bob Thornton doing what he does best. I mean, it's a good film. Not a great film overall, but I like it. Not much more to say about that one. That's Monsters Ball. So let's go ahead and wrap this up with if the shipping news was probably the worst Oscar bait movie of the weekend, this is definitely number 2. Sean Penn in I Am Sam. How did you make Robin Williams and Jack look more dignified than this Sean Penn? Because it's literally like Jack, except this one's clearly going for more Oscar bait. But Sean Penn plays Sam Dawson, who has the mental capability of a 7-year-old. He has a daughter whose homeless mother has abandoned them both, and Sam's difficulties become problematic as his daughter is taken away, the daughter played by a young Dakota Fanning in one of her early film roles. Sam finds a lawyer who handles the case pro bono, and in the process, Sam teaches her a great deal about love and whether it's really all needed. I mean, just... do I even need to say what's wrong with this movie? It's so manipulative, it's melodramatic, and it's just disgusting, man. Like, this is a movie that's one of those ones where Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder, you know, he said, never go full retard. This is that movie. This is one of those movies that's the prime definition of that. I mean, this is abysmally awful. I mean, this is a movie that's just like, it's got all the things you need for an Oscar bait movie, the melodramatic moments, and look, Sean Penn's a great actor, Michelle Pfeiffer's a great actress, and, you know, great cast overall in here. But, man, this is just... it's just one of those movies where you just go and look at why. Like, why can't you try to win an Oscar for actually playing a character? Not at this, where you're trying to do where you're trying to be, you know, mentally challenged when you know that it's not going to work all the time. And as much as you want to try to use this to get an Oscar, it's just not worth it, man. And if you can't make it work, then don't do it, man. But I don't know. This one made me. I mean, the shipping news made me mad for how just manipulative and like Oscar. So much it wants an Oscar so hard that it would take it behind the back of a convenience store and give it a blowjob if it means it gives him an Oscar. Like this movie, like, it's despicable what this movie was trying to do. And as much as I love these actors involved here, they all should have known better than this. Like it's not like this is. I've got nothing, man. Like, I don't really know what else to say about this one. Like, I mean, I guess Sean Penn's doing okay of a job in this, but man, just what he has to do for it, I just can't get behind it. I mean, I can't give this movie the praise that I think they wanted me to give it, but I just can't do it, man. I can't do that to myself. I'm tired of seeing movies like this, and luckily we've steered clear away of that in the last 2 decades, and I hope we don't go down that path again. But you never know. Somebody might think it's time for a rebirth of this, but hopefully that will not be the case. But I've got nothing else to say about this one. I Am Sam. Yeah, just not worth it, man. Just not worth it. Going back to that. And with that, 2001 is done. Next time we head into 2002, but we still have a couple of leftovers to talk about in 2001, as well as the first 2 movies of 2002. One is actually a new film, the other is a re-release. We'll talk about Imposter next time, and we'll also talk about the Beauty and the Beast IMAX re-release. But we only have 5 movies in terms of the 2001 leftovers that I wanted to really grasp and talk about here. And as you can tell, they're mostly the kids' movies and the family films, because those are the ones that seem to do pretty well when I do these. So we'll talk about Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, The Flintstones on the Rocks, Mickey's Magical Christmas, Beethoven's Fourth, and Pokemon Mewtwo Returns. So 7 movies we'll take a look at next time as we'll jump into 2002 finally. It feels like we've been in 2001 for a long time now, But thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I'm off. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. On to 2002. So until the next time we see each other, take care.